Carlos Beltran should take over for Carlos Mendoza and manage the Mets. I've opened up to the idea of it being a realistic situation, and here's why. Kai Correa comes in without managerial experience outside of a few games where he took over in the interim in San Francisco, and everyone's going to say there's no difference. Everyone's going to say, here we go again. Mendoza had no experience. Now Correa with no experience. He's just going to be a puppet to David Stearns. Now, Carlos Beltran doesn't necessarily have the experience, but he kind of does, right? The Mets hired him at one point and then fired him due to the scandal with the Astros, but now he's in good graces with not just the Mets, but with Major League Baseball. Beltran getting his number 15 in the rafters this year, getting his number retired by the Mets, entering the Mets Hall of Fame, and then entering the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. What a storyline it would be, right? Mets season in the crapper, everyone bashing them from A to Z, season over in April on 4/20, and then you hire the newest Mets Hall of Famer who's wearing a Mets cap in the Hall of Fame to manage the Mets and turn their season around and win the first World Series in 40 years. Now, listen, obviously it's a pipe dream in many aspects, but if Beltran comes in here and ignites this team and they do turn it around, Citi Field will go from a ghost town to the electric factory. And fans might not be showing up now, but if this team turns it around and Beltran's the manager, how fired up will fans be getting to watch one of their favorite all-time players and now Hall of Famer manage the team to victory? It's a hell of a storyline if it happens. Now, probably doesn't, but think about it, Mets. Think about the good PR you could do by bringing in a legend from the PR to manage the Mets. You're watching Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown. Hit that thumbs up on this video. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Carlos Mendoza is still the manager as of now. Now, listen, I don't know if it's a game-by-game basis. I don't know if it's a series-by-series basis. You know, I think if it hits the point the Mets are swept by the lowly Twins at Citi Field and they're booed out of town on Thursday, he's fired after Thursday's game. I think they want to maybe give him this homestand and see what happens. You have, winnable games here, and we'll talk about the homestand coming up. But I don't know how much longer the leash has to be here for Carlos Mendoza. The team is 8 games under 500, 7-15, and worst record in baseball, 11 straight losses. They look to end that tonight. But let us know in the comments, should the Mets replace him with Beltran? Now, I think Kai Correa is the guy who says the realistic one, but for all the reasons I just listed, Beltran would fire up a lot of people. It would make a whole lot of sense to go the Beltran route. And, Steve Cohen wants the fans in the seats, and Steve Cohen was in a seat courtside at the Knicks game, wasn't missing a choke job. He can't buy a win from a team in orange and blue. Knicks last night, the Mets the last 11 games. Steve Cohen's just trying to see anyone in the colors orange and blue win a game, and he can't do it. And, I feel bad, and I should say this for a guy worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars for Steve Cohen a little bit, but the Mets have become a punchline, and we don't want that. We don't want that here at Mets Daily. We don't want that amongst Mets fans. And, I posted the parking update. Check that out at Jake Brown Live on all my socials. The video letting you know where to park, where not to park, what's available, prices, all that. That is on my socials now, so check that out. I'm the only person. I'm now the Citi Field parking guide, so I'm good for something. But, Steve Cohen doesn't want to be the laughing stock. But here's the thing. A lot of people are bashing Cohen and selling his, you just sold us this casino. All he did was for the casino this. Steve Cohen has put together a $380 million roster. He has put the resources out for this team to win. So, I understand fans are mad. I understand the Mets are, the laughing stock of the league right now. But they have put their money where their mouth is. And you can fight, and I don't disagree with this, the raising the parking prices, limited spots, maybe even the raising the ticket prices, everything that's gone on there. But in terms of putting money into the team, he has done that. He has not sold the Mets fan base this fake bag of goods just to build his casino. The team is struggling right now. The team collapsed last year. These are Mets things that happen, but last year they had a good roster. They put money into it. Yeah, the pitching crumbled. You demolish the core. You move on. You put a new team together. On paper, it was the third best, highest odds to win the World Series. So this wasn't like a slouch team coming in. I still think they're going to turn it around. But to blame Cohen because he's building a casino and building up the area around Citi Field, which, by the way, we've been asking for our whole lives, to get rid of the chop shops and the tires and having absolutely no bars or restaurants to go to before or after games or in the offseason. If we want to feel Citi Field, we want to go by the stadium and just hang by there, we want a place to go. So, I just don't think it's fair to bash Cohen. You can bash Stearns because you don't like his moves. I don't think bashing Cohen is the right guy. Cohen brought in one of the masterminds, considered by many, in David Stearns. Hasn't worked yet. 2024 it worked. The team was tremendous. Last year they collapsed. Now they're off to a bad start. I get it, but they've put the money in. They have a good, decent enough team to make the playoffs, and they're just playing crappy baseball. That's what it is. And that has to turn, and that starts tonight. It starts tonight. It starts tonight. From now on, the Mets must win a few games in a row. From now on, the Mets must stop losing. They must not blow. They must not blow. 9-game homestand tonight against the Minnesota Twins. Hope you enjoyed my Andrea Bocelli, Josh Groban voice right there. It'll be Simeon Woods Richardson, as Mick Abel was supposed to pitch. He goes to the IL. So it'll be Simeon Woods Richardson against Nolan McLean, a matchup of a former Met prospect against a current Mets prospect. McLean has looked great. Now they got to give him run support. Listen, Simeon Woods Richardson has not been good this year. The Mets offense needs to hit. Enough, not hitting. Yes, the weather will be a little chilly this week in New York. Teams got to wake up. And hopefully the day off gets them going here. It'll be Clay Holmes tomorrow. The Twins coming in 11-11. And then Thursday, another night game. It'll be Joe Ryan versus TBD for the Mets. Senga's still in there. I think at some point we're going to see Christian Scott, who's been pitching well in AAA. We'll talk more about him later this week and what Senga replacements may potentially be. But 3 against the Twins, then 3 against the Rockies, who are right now 9-14 over the weekend at Citi Field, and then 3 against the Nationals, who right now entered today 10-13. This is a 9-game stretch where the Mets have, at the worst, got to find a way to go 6-3. 6-3 would mean you won 2 out of 3 each one. Heck, I'd love if they swept one. I would love a 7-2 stretch here. Get to 3 games under, feel a little bit better right now, because 8 games under, you're not feeling good. There's a big difference between 8 games under and 3 games under. So find a way to go 6-3, and I think fans will be fairly satisfied with that. All right, let's get to your comments from yesterday's program. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Keep on commenting. Let's go. From OFam, just to give full transparency, I am a Dodgers fan. This is not the manager's fault. It's a camaraderie issue. When they were winning, they had fun. They were spirited in the team. From the second half of last year until now, the dugout's quiet. There's no excitement amongst the players. Hope that changes. No one wants to go work with a bunch of boring coworkers. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why Dodgers fans watching, but welcome. We welcome all fans here. If you're watching, we appreciate it. When you win, you have more fun. No doubt about it. I think that masked any issues they may have had last year in the first half of the season when they had the best record in baseball through 69 games, and then they crumbled, and then there was no fun to be had. So, also, I think in a new group, the fact that they haven't had fun yet, obviously they had the couple games, the walk-offs, but, if they could win some together. They tried on Sunday the sledgehammer, and, I've been craving here on Mets Daily for the Mets to have some kind of item to bring them together, The OMG was 2024. Teams have the mask. The Pirates have the cone. We talked about with Draft Nick Mark on Friday. Make sure you go watch that show back. But the Mets don't have anything. MJ Melendez tried out the sledgehammer on Sunday, and I thought that sledgehammer is going to maybe be the moment the Mets turn this around. Obviously, Devin Williams blows a save. Mets lose in extra innings. Sledgehammer means nothing. But it's a start, right? Keep the sledgehammer. Have that be the home run celebration. Something to unite this group. And once they could string some wins together, have some fun, maybe you'll have some more fun playing with coworkers when you're winning baseball games. From Leo Cal said, agree about firing Mendoza. I will be at the game tomorrow. Lindor defended Buck, too, when he was fired. Not long after, players changed, same results. I'm throwing this out there almost jokingly, bringing Joe Girardi. Mendoza's lost the room. Also, we need to go and trade for Yandy. Does J.D. Martinez end up the bench coach? Yeah, well, you know what I think. Yandy Diaz, I crave for him to be a Met by the trade deadline this year, but we'll see. Probably not going to happen, but I'm still holding hope. Yeah, I just think Girardi, with this group, I don't think makes a lot of sense. I think he's just a name. He hasn't had that much success of late. I know he's managed in New York and has won in New York. You know, I just enough of the Yankee retreads. I mean, we keep going down this Yankee well. I don't love it. I don't think JD Martinez wants to coach. I think he's had opportunities. I don't think he wants to do the day-to-day, and that's why he's doing this cushy front office role. You know, Beltran is within the organization already, so they can go from within for Beltran. I think he wants this role. I think for Beltran, after what happened with, you know, the scandal and everything, I feel like he wants to send a message and be out there. So we'll see. I just don't think JD Martinez wants to do that. I think he's fine, you know, not being at the stadium all the time, playing his pickleball and getting a big check. Michelangelo, inexcusable not to walk Horner there. Mendy's explanation was even worse. Yeah, Mendy said if we walk him, he would have stole second. Listen, that's dumb. You walk the best hitter on the team. You face Michael Busch, who's hitting below 200. That was just poor managing, once again, by Carlos Mendoza. The Mets need to fire both people in that picture, says Maximus, referring to Mendoza and Stearns. Again, guys, Stearns will not be fired during the season. That's finding a new GM and replacing him during the season much harder than finding a manager to replace him. Matthias says, I heard Ron or Gary mention that the Mets haven't been facing the best pitcher every game, but they seem to be getting the best of every pitcher they face. Do you think this is the case, or are the Mets just making the pitchers they face look better than they really are? I think the Mets are making these pitchers look better than they are, to be honest. I think some of it's maybe the weather playing a factor, you know, with they go from cold to hot to, like, you see me, I'm congested, right? It goes from 80 to 50 to 60 to 40 to 20. It's just been a chaotic month of weather-wise. But, yeah, I think they're looking better than they are against the Mets. Shakamoto, Mets Daily Insider member, says Lindor, Bichette, and Vientos bats all disappearing at once is crazy. Simeon is a soft ground ball hitter at this point. Take Soto out, and we are relying on bench players for offense to not see this coming. Yeah, I think it'll turn eventually, Shakamoto. I think Beatty has to be out of the lineup. Simeon has actually been coming around, so I'll give it to Simeon. He's been starting to hit here. You know, I think he's been getting a lot of heat just because Nimmo's been great. But Simeon has been doing what you've asked of him. It just looks worse when no one else is hitting. But if everyone else was hitting, Simeon's numbers would be fine. You know, Soto hopefully is back tonight. We don't have word yet if it's going to be today. The hope is it's today. We've heard this homestand. So I think the Mets are hoping and praying he's back today. I feel like we would have heard if it was today, but we'll see. We'll see when, you know, in a couple hours when you're watching this, maybe we know, but we're not sure yet if he'll be here today. Mario says they got out of Luis Rojas, manager that has won in every league and has successors. Showalter and Mendoza have done it worse. Mitchell says, Jake, fire Mendoza. Who are they bringing in? Correa? Nuts. He's been here 5 minutes. Beltran calling for Mendy's firing is reaching for answers that a new skipper won't fix. No, this is on the team, the coaching staff, and Stearns. Mendy isn't the problem. But it's not about that. It's about accountability, and it's about making a change. Mendy might not be the problem. He is a problem. He's one of the many problems this team is having. You can't fire players. You're not firing the GM. You have to think of what you can do, and that is what you can do. Will it change? We'll see. We won't know until it happens. We just won't know. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe, comment below. Follow me at Jake Brown Live. Let's go Mets. Turn this around. End this losing streak. We'll talk to you tomorrow.